Alright, so in this video for iteration 3 for ECE1145, what we're going to do is we're going to go over how we implement the architecture for one of the required variants. So the way that we have this set up with the beta, delta, and gamma sieve, they're each a little different. So I'm just going to kind of go over how we did the aging for alpha and beta, the layout for delta and alpha, and then the unit structure for gamma. So just kind of a little bit of each of those, basically. So I'm going to start off with the aging, and we're going to go through the 3-1-2 process of that. So of course the variability for that one is how we age the world through time. So the interface that we're using for that, to kind of go over that, is this age world function that is an implementation of the aging interface here. So the way that that works, well, let me say the delegate for this aging function is in here. It's called this.howToAge. So that's kind of how we pull that aging strategy in. And then down here in end of rounds, we use the how to age the world, and that calls either the beta aging variant of age the world or the alpha aging variant of age the world. So that's kind of our 3-1-2 process there. So that's the variability point and the interface there as well. So where we make that decision is we're going to make that decision within game implementation, and then within the function right here at the top. Once you call game impl to initiate a new game, you're going to have to call in the aging age strat function. So for example, down here in test alpha sieve, we have right here. So once we call the game implementation, we have to have this aging function here. And so that is from new alpha aging. So that's how we initialize that. So down here in beta sieve, we have the same thing, except it's called beta aging. So that's how we determine those two variations between that. Let's see. I'll do, so the same thing for delta sieve, basically. So we have our delta sieve layout and our alpha sieve layout. So you can see that there, and then within game implementation, pretty much the same thing as the aging structure. We have the layout variable, which calls in a hash map for these three hash maps we have here. One sets up the world, one sets up all the units within the world, and one sets up the cities within the world. And so with that, the delta sieve kind of goes through here. It sets up the initial hash map with the tiles and everything, the individual tiles, the units that we have. These are all for testing essentially at this point, and then the cities that we have. And so we're able to kind of create hash maps differently depending on what sieve you want. So delta sieve, you get this one. It's a lot more detailed, a lot more like the pictures from the book. And alpha sieve, it's pretty much just, bare bones for testing and such. So you can differentiate between how you want this to be set up. So you can see that's how we implement that here. And then down here in delta sieve, we call in the delta sieve layout function and pass that into the game implementation. And then in alpha sieve, same thing, but we call for alpha sieve layout. So that's kind of how we differentiate between those two things, how we get that set up, and how our whole code works. So yeah, thank you very much, and I think that'll do it. All right.